Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Let me see something real quick. Oh, wow. So, it's a little dark. Give me a second. Give me a second. I want to make this look good and we're going to start from the top. Hold on. Okay, that kind of looks better. Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Today, I will be doing a segment on the virus that outbreak had. Well, it is already current in China. So let's begin to talk about that. So I read about it. I didn't read about it, but I watched the video. And basically, the chikungunya virus is something that stems from China and causes fever, brain swelling, and rash. What I don't get is why China keep coming out with these viruses. First we had the COVID, and and many other, like they brought fungus over here. They brought fungus over here, you know, and got is about to get federal time for that. Um, these viruses aren't no joke. These viruses are real. There aren't no joke, and they kill and it causes brain swelling, which could be the first symptoms of going into expiring, or dying, should I say. Brain swelling isn't no joke. When you get a fever and it causes brain swelling, you could end up dying from that, depending on what you're doing. So I understand that there's like 1.4 billion people in China, but where are they going to get sanctioned? When are they going to get sanctioned for spreading viruses between worlds or countries? Spreading viruses between countries. They already got caught for it being some type of mold here. In that case, like I said, it's still pending. So I can already tell. Me, I'm never going to visit China unless they change their ways, because I already know that if I went to China or Russia, or that I would probably end up getting locked up, for treason or talking bad about the government, but I don't really care because I'm in America, and America, we have freedom of speech. And basically, it's the truth. 1.4 billion people in China, and these viruses keep coming out. The Chikungunya virus. That is something serious. And they haven't had. Like I said, I feel like if I understand that naturally we're gonna have things happen, but where did it stem from? Where did this virus stem from? Where did it come from? Let's watch a video about it to see um where this virus came from. Give me a second. Or espionage. I don't even know what hold on, let me look up espionage. I think it's called espionage. But they will arrest me for. Yeah. I don't need to spy. I got a brain, 2 legs, 2 arms, 10 fingers, 10 toes. I know I have common sense. My espionage is common sense about these governments. Okay. It's a mosquito bite, y'all. It's a mosquito bite. Where um okay, here we go. I hope this has videos. Um I don't know if I want to make that move right yet because they're not even talking about it over here, but let's see something. This is a national security threat. Like, stuff in China don't happen for a reason. Stuff in China don't happen for a reason. Wouldn't China, seeing as though it got 1.4 billion people, want to figure out ways to not allow viruses in their territory or their country? Wouldn't they be working on that? Instead, they're working on technology, and I get it, but what what can really happen? A lot can happen. A lot can happen. This can spread across the globe. It says Chikungunya virus alert. Who warns of global comeback in 2025? So now, this was 2 weeks ago. They did this. So now it's spreading to Europe. That's what I remember hearing. It spread it to Europe a little bit. It could be a long lasting disability too. Can you imagine that? A long lasting disability in a person? I hate to keep piggybacking off of police officers, but what if a police officer gets bit by one and he has a long lasting or she has a long lasting disability of something that she cannot, something neural like neurotoxins or something, where her neurology is messed up. His or her neurology neurons are messed up, and they have neurotoxicity, um, which is toxic, some type of toxic substance of the neurons. Let's read a little bit even further on this. Give me just a second. I'm gonna close y'all out, and then I have reason to believe it's neurological. Give me just a second. I'll show y'all in just a second. Anything that's inflammation is basically neurological. Inflammation of the joints is muscle. No. Fever is definitely neurological. Chronic joint pain and inflammation that can persist for months or even years. Inflammation of the bones. Wearing mosquito repellent protective clothing and eliminating mosquito, and this is crazy because they got alligator Alcatraz, and they don't need to be worried about the well, it's not over here yet, but hold on. Let's see, World Health Organization. Let me see. No, let me go back. Is it neurological? Yep, yep. Let me show y'all. The infection causes fever and severe joint pain. It can also lead to neurological complications in some cases. These neurological manifestations, though less common, can range from mild symptoms like headaches, seizures, encephalitis, which is swelling, inflammation of the brain, muscle inflammation of the muscle, um, and I don't know what this syndrome is. A rare and serious autoimmune disorder where the body immune system mistakenly attacked the nerves, causes muscle weakness and sometimes paralysis. Twitching. Oh my God. The infection could disrupt the integrity of the blood brain barrier, obviously, if it causes encephalitis, potentially allowing the virus to enter the central, oh my God, the central nervous system. That's scary, man. That's what keeps you alive, the brain connection to the central nervous system, your nervous system. Imagine a lot of people getting that done to them. Them coming over here and years later, you know, these symptoms still exist within the people who actually, you know, got bit. That's a scary thing. Let's read, where did it come from? And that, China is using, I don't even want to say that. Like, I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say it because I know I get kicked off. Like if I was Z, if I was in Z's position, I would be using my voters as guinea pigs. I wouldn't even care. It originated in Africa in 1952. It spread it to new territories. How did the virus get in China? How did an imported case? The virus spread through a large outbreak in Guangdong province linked to monsoon flooding that created ideal breeding conditions for mosquitoes. The people in Guangdong province are really having it bad because that's a mosquito breeding ground. That's crazy. I mean, like I said before, isn't there something that could be done that China could be doing to prevent mosquitoes? I mean, I understand mosquitoes. That like, is it in the ecosystem? Hold on. Do we need mosquitoes in our ecosystem? Okay. Mosquitoes transfer pollen. The larvae is the most important food source for fish, so they eat that, which is blood they eating. Adult mosquitoes are eaten by birds, bats, and other, and so they are needed in the ecosystem. But can we like tag them or something? Can we like tag them and like or spray? You know how they, you got you got um basically birds, not birds, but chickens that are grass fed, not grass fed, but are locked up in a cage free in cage. Can we and they eat a specific diet? Can we like put them on a specific diet where the blood that they are taking, or however the virus is being carried, we can reverse those within the mosquitoes. We can like reverse that within a mosquito, the spreading of pathogens or viruses and stuff of that nature. Why haven't nobody thought of that? I mean, I'm not that smart. I'm not that smart. Like, chickens have a specific diet and they try to keep from getting the bird flu or whatnot, which was out. I think that they said, where did they say? Guang Guang something. I took it off. But a certain area of China is a breeding house for mosquitoes, and they migrated here. But that still doesn't solve the problem. They didn't say migration. They did not say migration. If anything, they said suitable for breeding conditions. Okay, but they're lying, because through an infected individual, okay, travel from another, who traveled from another region. Hold on, y'all. So from Africa, a disease regularly occurring within an area or community. Likely. That doesn't mean guaranteed that that's how it happened. That's not guaranteed, that doesn't mean it's guaranteed that an effective individual. But then they go to say, um, it's primarily spread by mosquitoes, and the Guangdong province is linked to monsoon flooding. Okay, I can see that, which created ideal breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Travel, transmission. That's a scary thing to have a lot of these things going on with viruses and stuff. That is very scary, to have to take control and be a guide for 400 million people who was here. You still got to take control of the illegal immigrants that are here. Even though you're sending them back to their country, you have to, let's just say, case in point, 400 million people. You have to know where they are at all, like down a chain of command. And you have to make sure they're safe, or if they keep themselves safe. But if they don't keep themselves safe, then that's on them. But safe enough. Let's say fair enough safe. People go to work, people go to friends' houses, people go to different places, and you got people that do illegal stuff, you got people that don't do illegal stuff, but for the most part, you have to keep track of 400 million people. That's a scary thing to have a button over. And that's why I I truly appreciate this man. I really look up to him, because it's like he they all used to say that he is ready to press a button. He is ready to do some damage, but that's not it. He was ready for peace, and he's ready for peace. That's all he keeps screaming, peace. And everybody keeps saying, no, it's not peace. You want war. And he's like, I want peace. I want peace. And it's like, no, war. That's the narrative being cooked up, and it's just crazy, man. It's really crazy how narratives be cooked up. 400 million people, man. Imagine, I want y'all to sit back and literally imagine if you were chief commander in chief of you have to know everything about people. I mean, they say that you have a scope up your butt when you are president, but I think the people that are that are regular old people, I think we do too, and we're easy to predict. We're very easy to predict. And like, I'm so scared about this virus, that I don't need no more nerve pain, no, well, nerve damage, I don't need that, bringing them over here, and I'm close to the water, um, so yeah. Let me see one more thing. Wow, it's getting bigger and bigger. It's in India too. That's crazy, man. Like, Gary. I think that there should be research in developing a vaccine. I didn't think about it that way. I would say, that's money. That's money. Why don't you invest the money into the mosquitoes, the ecosystem, instead of developing a vaccine? Spray the bugs down with some type of drug that will get the drug the make them sterile enough to not spread viruses through their blood on blood contact, skin blood contact, because creating a new virus, I know they're going to create a new virus like antivirus or drug, virus drug, but I'm just saying, like, that way their breed, the next breed of mosquitoes, will have that in their system. I mean, it's a lot of people out here, a lot of people out here that has studied um, everything in the world almost that's defined um, in a dictionary, um, a a thing, a item, you know, especially the stars. Just think of how they explored the stars as in centuries behind us, not centuries, but millennials behind us. You know, yeah. That's going to lead to more people wanting pain medication. This isn't going to end quite well, because more people going to say I'm in pain. Is Motrin isn't going to really help. Motrin doesn't help for everybody. Motrin can cause stomach ulcers. You know, people are going to it's going to be a surge in pain medication because there's going to be the need to prescribe pain medication. You know, people are going to be going to the emergency room. You know, and it's going to be on the news. I foresee within the next six six months, 3 to 6 months. You know, it's crazy. If um if they That's why they're gonna do a virus possibly, because that way, get the chimichanga virus drug. It's crazy. We don't need that over here. So it's safer than sorry. If I was someone of authority, I would sit up there and do a virus shot, a shot, um vaccine, not a virus but a vaccine. Sorry, I was saying that wrong. Sigmund Freud slip. um but get a vaccine, and yeah, I think it should be free. Just imagine what it's going to do to the elderly, like the COVID. You know, they have weakened immune systems and weakened neurological systems, nerve systems. Because they're elderly. I can only imagine what is to come from when I turn 70, 80 years old. What kind of virus is going to be out there for the people born in 84, 80 through 84. I Don't ask me. I do not know what is Gen X, millennium. I am not a millennial baby. I think it's Gen X. I'm not sure. Okay, they're just saying the same thing. Let's watch. This was updated 1 hour ago. I know he ain't up on the roof. Lord Jesus, help him. You know what's pretty cool? I mean, this isn't cool. This is actually an outrageously scripted thing. They're probably hiding. What if I was to say they probably hiding somewhere in Mexico? That's not prejudice. That's just a joke. I've heard people say worser than that. People be like, well, like our own president called us garbage. Our own former president. So that has, your own race, your own United States. You grew up here. You were in the Senate. You were vice president, and now you were president, and you did that. It's crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. That was disinformation. He called Republicans garbage, not everybody. It was included in that fiasco. So Republicans are seen as garbage. So if I was to write a senator or something, I would get ignored. Look at what they're doing now. They said, wonder why Democrats think they're Bonnie and Clyde. That was a good one. He said he bringing a knife to a knife fight. Like, really? Nobody's cutting on you left. Y'all left. Y'all left. What? I can't even say y'all. You all left. How else would you like for me to word it? Five people left. You all left. All y'all left. Y'all left. In my country, Ebonics word. But y'all left. He said, we're not running away, we're running into the fight. Wow. What is going on, yo? That they're good at that. I can't sit up there and deny that they run into the fight. They run into the fight. No, that's wrong. They actually are causers of fights. They're instigators of fights. The Tesla uh getting burnt, like blowing up the Tesla joint, the everything that they do, the riots in Washington State, with the school, University UW or whatever, or George Washington University, whichever one it was, they make fights. They make fights, He said you don't bring a knife to a knife fight. I don't know what you bring. I'm bringing cupcakes. Maybe that'll isolate and suppress the anger inside this person. I may not know all of that, but they took an oath. These Democrats took an oath to be there, and they're not. They're playing around with their jobs. They're playing around with their jobs like it's okay to do this. That's how much you don't like President Trump. You're willing to do that, to flee the state, playing around with your job, playing around with your job. If I had a job like that, I wouldn't sit up there and play around with it. I would cherish it. I wouldn't make it a stunt show because you have to defy what Trump says at all costs and keep your democracy at ablaze. And that's crazy. Now you know why I wasn't positioned as state senator in Washington. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Washington. Washington is doing what's best for Washington, but lied about the vote count, Ballotopia. I got 12,000 votes. It may not have been a lot, but it's worth it to me. I like just doing this from on here says a lot. And yeah, subliminally, that is a way of causing people to want to fight. Like if they agree with the Democrats, they're like, well, I'm gonna fight too. And guess what? You got these vigilantes out here going around doing what they want, killing, murdering, well, murdering or killing, and doing things that are illegal, doing things that are illegal. Look at what they're doing now while in power as governors. Look at what they're doing now while as governors. That shows that their ability to handle presidency if they decide to run. Look at what they're doing now. You know, the riots going on in California. Male and female sports. It's just terrible. You called it out. You called it out. You said it's not right. But was it right to do for 4 years what the Democrats has done? Misinformation. They actually, since they're saying that since they have money, they can do what they want, give y'all information that is false. That's what was going on for 4 years with Biden. How did he not know he had cancer? How didn't he know? All the lies. We don't know what was going on in Biden's head, but he should not, I don't think he should have been president. I think that they should have gave way for a new recruit. But this was the battle, this was the duel, the big duel between Biden and Trump. I get it. They have been around the longest, and I kind of get why he did it that way. He's supposed to have known everything. I mean, imagine being in office that long and can't answer a sentence. Imagine being in office, you doing traditional work, typing off the typewriter, writing with a pen, not well, a pen or a pencil, your writings, you know, imagine. You're supposed to know it all. The only thing he has been able to accomplish was money. And contracts and deals and undercut deals, and he was competent enough to make deals. So basically that's it. I talked about Trump We talked about different things, dealing with Trump. Um, I really enjoy watching Fox News, like really, because you get all the great news. You know, their news is different than CNN or ABC, Fox. I mean, ABC, MSNBC, and CBS. And I enjoy the fact that they teach me stuff. I don't know it all, and nobody is above the law. I'm not above the law. Nobody is. So why keep acting? Why do you keep acting like you're above the law because you have money? Is there some secret that us poor folk or middle class folk don't know about the law? That if you have money, you can get away with it? Because that's what it seems like. You know, Paul Pelosi getting away with what he did, um, when he almost hit that immigrant while drunk driving. It. I don't get it. Nobody should be above the law. Nobody. And so why did these 5 Democrats flee? Is the question. Why did these 5 Democrats flee? Because they feel like they are above the law, and they feel like they got a higher up superiority of other people. So if I were y'all and during midterms, in 2028, I would be thinking about who did what. Did do you want to be known as somebody violent that sit up there and invoke violence because they can't have their way? Because that's all I see is someone who can't have their way, so they invoke violence, spew it in certain. They pay for violence, and they're based off of violence, and it's just not right. Somehow, some way, the Democrats have to come to amends. I don't want the Democrats to come to amends when Trump 20, 30 years down the road expire. Like I don't want them to say, "Oh, that was a great man, Nancy Pelosi be like I don't want that. Why sit up there and say he's a great man when he is gone? You were battling with him up and down the whole time to sit up there and step down, impeachment this, and all these other schemes that are being spewed out by the Democrats, you know. But it's okay. You know, this is what I do. I do my show and I give my opinion, and I'm always for the Republicans, you know. Um 98% of the time, you know. So that's how I feel. And I'm a proud veteran, you know. I wish I could have gotten back into the military. I wish it would have been to be underneath Pete Hegseth, like seriously, to be working with his legacy, you know, and that's what it's all about. So I really, truly appreciate you guys who all stayed and watched me. Um, I am about to get off of here and fix me something to eat. I truly feel like tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow I get interviewed at 7:30, 7:30 in the morning, 7:30 Pacific time. Hopefully I get to record it while it's being live, but I I get interviewed and I have an interview tomorrow. I have to write back the people who wrote me for the actual interview. So yeah, definitely take care. Be safe, and I will see you guys another time. Bye.
Never waste my time, you are out.